You are listening to Adda, a Transfin podcast. These are 15-minute conversations to achieve a singular objective, that is, to intrigue, amuse, and nudge you into thinking a little deeper. Also listen in for some riveting icebreakers. Do subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google to get that nice little notification every time an episode goes live. This week, we chart the rise of influencer marketing and discuss why the skin whitening industry is still booming. Hi Siddhana, what's up, man?
Man, that's a very American slogan, Simi. I mean, are you coming back from the US perhaps?
I wish. Unfortunately, no, but I just came back from Bhopal a couple of days back.
Just as nice as the US.
Just as... Come on, really? It's my hometown. Why not? It's just as beautiful as the US is.
I'm sure it is.
Right. But I did, fortunately, I did see some pictures of California this morning on my Instagram. Mm-hmm. And they were gorgeous. Just want to travel.
It's quite pretty. All the sea and the beaches and the hills and the mountains. It's quite diverse in terms of geography.
Yeah, right. Just imagining some people get to travel so much and also get paid to do that. Wouldn't that be
professional travelers?
No, I'm talking about influencers here.
Okay. You mean on those folks on Instagram who go to these very posh beaches and posh hotels and have this very seemingly incomparably amazing lives.
Yeah. And get paid for it to do all of that.
Okay. Tell me more.
Right. So, that brings us to our first topic on influencer marketing. Whom do you think are these influencers then?
I think they're just folks with hundreds of thousands of Instagram followers who tie up with brands, right. And they are paid to either promote their products or their services perhaps.
Right. Exactly that, but in a much more organic or native way. That's the primary difference between a traditional marketing strategy, right?
Okay.
Influencer marketing do it in a much more organic way.
When you say organic, I don't get it. I mean, what do you exactly mean by that?
Right. So these influencers already have a huge fan following of theirs, a huge follower base on. So these influencers are primarily active on Instagram and Twitter. TikTok is also gaining a lot of popularity in the recent times, and it's supposed to in fact overtake Instagram the next couple of years to come.
Really?
But right. So if I say follow this traveler X and he or she already has a base of say 50,000 followers, he or she does not just do ads all the time, right? They're already posting pictures of themselves. They already have about say 50,000 posts in themselves, right? Of these 50,000, say about 10 would be paid partnerships.
Okay.
And so I kind of connect with this person on a personal level. I kind of have this idea of what the person does or what the person's life looks like, and then when he or she is to promote a particular product, I would take that much more seriously. It's unlike an insertion in the middle of a YouTube video. I mean, it's so annoying. I mean, I'm watching a video. See, I'm listening to a Pratik Kuhar song and suddenly there's Indian oil ad thing. I mean, what am I supposed to do?
It's so bizarre. Yeah, I get
it's so
it.
Bizarre. But I mean, unlike that, say if I'm looking at a post from a travel influencer and he or she recommends an audiobook, say they don't get time much to read when traveling, but say or carry too many books, but say a Kindle or an audiobook would be so helpful then, right? So I would actually take that recommendation much more seriously than an Indian oil ad coming in the midst of popping out of nowhere from a YouTube video, right?
Okay, that's very interesting. So that would, in a way, I would say, influence your choices.
Yes.
It's a pun, Simi. You're supposed to laugh at the pun. So, Simi, you're talking about the influencer industry, right?
Right.
And then, so Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Why not Facebook and YouTube?
Facebook is also there. I'm just charting that it's just Instagram has risen to be the most popular of these choices, but Twitter is there. Twitter is right behind Twitter. Even LinkedIn, Facebook,
even LinkedIn.
Okay. And Instagram, YouTube is also there. So YouTube in itself is a huge
social media
platform.
in general.
Social media in general, yeah. I mean, in fact, the influencer marketing industry was worth about 700 million in 2016.
Okay.
And with the rapid growth, it's expected to hit 20 billion by 2020.
You mean this year?
Yeah, this year.
Okay.
And India has a fair bit of chunk in this, which is about 75 to 150 million. Right?
Okay.
That's not a very small number.
It is. Yeah, it's not.
Right.
Okay. So what exactly is the source or the drive that drives this industry so to speak?
Right, good question there. First, I think first and foremost is the shift in the consumption patterns, like similar to what we had discussed last week. Even a lot of people are now switching from reading newspapers or watching news on televisions to consuming news on digital platforms, right? Like Instagram, social media platforms, right? Digital platforms, social media platforms like Instagram, Twitter, right?
Yeah.
And other than that, just rise of social media platforms in itself, networking platforms, again, like Instagram, TikTok, as I said. TikTok is like a huge upcoming player in the entire field, right? And besides that, like people just now understand, like if you can't just insert an ad out of nowhere with no connection of what you're watching and what your tastes are like.
Yeah.
So again, I think influencer marketing, how it also excels in one way is that I follow a couple of people, like influencers I have to follow, right? Like mostly. So I follow a couple of them around food industry, travel industry, healthcare industry, beauty industry, all of them, right? And it's the kind of content like I prefer. It's not as abrupt as, again, like I said, Indian Oil ad or tire ad coming in the middle of a song. Like why would I want to? I'm not interested in that at all. But
it's more personal, I could say.
Yeah, I think in that way, influencer marketing is also a lot more targeted.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
besides that, a lot of people now get an increasing sense of how like traditional marketing also works. Like it's paid marketing. They don't have that connect. Influencer marketing also has a lot of transparency. In fact, Instagram has this tag going which says in partnership with say X.
Yeah, I've actually seen those. Yeah,
you have seen those,
yeah.
right? So like a person as a consumer, I know that this is a paid campaign, but even then I know that it kind of resonates with the person itself. It's like endorsing, say like Amitabh Bachchan endorsing a bat. How does that work? Like if you have Sachin Tendulkar endorsing a bat brand, it still works, right?
Yeah.
So it's very close to what the person kind of preaches or lives in his or her personal life. So you tend to take them more seriously.
Yeah, so it has the added weightage
it
coming
does,
from
it
his
does, it does.
account.
Other than that, there's also the word of mouth also comes in play, because say I've seen this hoarding on my way to office, but there's no way I can share it. I mean, just clicking a picture and sharing is too much of work. But if I see something on Instagram or Twitter, I can just instantly share it, right? And there's a greater probability that the ad goes to many more places. That's
true. That's very nice. So how much do they make, these Instagram and TikTok influencers?
Oh, it's crazy, right? And here I just want to mention that it's not just influencers we're talking about, but also micro or nano influencers. So someone who has followers in the range of like just 3,000 to 5,000 followers, they can count as micro influencers.
Okay.
And as per ET report, even micro influencers with over 3,000, 5,000 followers can make anything between 10,000 to 20,000 rupees per post.
So so basically they just have to post one image and they make so much money.
Yeah, it's insane.
My God.
Yeah.
Okay.
And just numbers for some bigger players, like with over 5 lakh followers, they can make up to 7 lakh per post.
My God.
Insane,
so
right?
That's like a lakpati just with one Instagram post by posting an image.
That's equivalent to more than a lot of people's CTC. That's like more than people's annual income. And this in fact, this interesting fact here is that this number has gone up from only 1.5 lakh in 2018. Like in 2019, a follower with an influencer with 5 lakh followers would make as high as 7 lakh. This was up from 1.5 lakh in 2018. So
in just 1 year.
In just 1 year. So you can just, that just is evidence of the fact that the burgeoning trend.
Simi, also I think that Instagram was trying to test this new feature wherein its like button was being, I don't know, like hidden or something.
Yes.
I
think it has already rolled out that feature in a couple of accounts. But see, the idea behind the exercise was keeping mental health in mind, because a lot of people get lot competitive and with influencer marketing, there's the fear of just buying fake followers or likes, right? So marketing agencies or advertisers who are paying these influencers are very wary of that. And rightfully, I think in US and UK there has been some regulation in place to even regulate influencer marketing. Unfortunately,
regulate. What do you mean? Like they have like rules for like influencers?
They have some set of rules on what kind of content they can put in, and say like against. There's some means to map fake followers or fake likes. It's the third-party apps which can get you fake followers. But there's obviously nothing of that sort in place in India yet. But hopefully we'll come around something there soon.
Okay. So, Simi, how many followers do you have on Instagram?
I have barely 300, Siddhartha, not a regular.
You're like
I consume a lot of content, but not putting up things regularly. I'll probably work on that.
So like...
how many do you have, by the way?
I think around 700.
Oh, wow, you're already a micro-influencer.
More like a micro influencer. So I'm like, almost there, to become like a very rich man by just posting images on Instagram. That's the dream.
Right. What kind of influencers do you follow anyway?
I think a lot of it has to do with travel or food.
Travel, same here. I do a lot of travel.
I'm so jealous every day to see them.
Yeah, I follow people around health as well, health, fitness, also some, just feeding into my vanity some, cosmetics and beauty and
beauty, yes,
beauty tips.
Beauty products, like that's like a very big chunk of this industry, isn't it?
Yeah.
So talking about like things that can make your skin fairer and lighter, and this in fact brings us to topic number 2, Simi, which is the rise of the skin lightening industry, which actually is like quite huge. In fact, in 2017, it was worth $4.8 billion.
Wow!
And by 2027, it's going to be worth around $9 billion. And this is a very big industry. So, according to a World Health Organization report, around 61% of Indian women use these products. Just to in a way try to make their skin fairer or whiter per se. But
I think it's the 61 is just the women, right? I'm sure there's a huge chunk.
There's also a lot of men.
There's also a huge chunk of men using these products, right?
Yeah,
especially after Shah Rukh Khan endorsing the Fair and Lovely men's cream.
That was just so unfair and unlovely. I mean, this entire industry, like it's so blatantly and objectively colorist and also like racist, but then so many of us still endorse and still use these creams and gels so often.
I think it's very similar to how tobacco works. I mean, you see this huge ads before every picture, huge hoardings. In fact, the very packet of a cigarette has such nasty pictures on it, but still people know it and still use
it's actually a very good point that you made. In fact, also these so basically there are like several different ways in which you can make your skin quote unquote white, and these aren't just gels or creams, but then these are also peels and pills and injections and even actual bleach, in fact. Right? And these are also very, very bad for your health.
Bleaching, Siddhartha, I don't know if you know that, but it's a very common thing. I mean, every other person does it almost. Like, you can just go to a parlor and do it. It's
cleaning bleach, though, Simi. On your skin. Cleaning bleach on your skin. Just think of it.
Yeah, it's as insane as that.
It's also very, very bad for your health. In fact, these things can cause things like cystic acne, skin thinning, paradoxical darkening of skin, and it can also destroy the top layer of your body.
Sorry, the top layer of your body means?
I mean your skin, of course, the top layer of your skin.
Complete erosion?
Yes, like corrosion, in fact, in a way.
Okay.
And also it can increase the chances of you getting things like skin cancer and also fatal kidney issues and damage to your other organs. And then even then we see that the idea of white is right is so deeply ingrained in us that even though we already know that this entire industry is built on the wrong ideas and on objective vanity, even then we indulge in these products, and that's pretty saddening and bad. In fact, I can't wait to be in a world where, to quote the great Martin Luther King Jr., where all of us will be judged not on the color of our skin but on the content of our character.
Come on, Siddhartha, weren't you just reading this before you entered the room to record this?
No, I wasn't.
I saw you.
That is hashtag fake news. Yeah.
Nice. It was good.
So to end it, I think it's very important that all of us see the fact that the skin lightening industry is a very booming sector, even though it has so many issues, both in terms of morals as well as health issues. That's all for today, folks. Thank you for listening in. Do subscribe to our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google. See you soon.